Things ain't looking good, man, when it comes to Terrence Crawford. But if you watch any of my videos, you already know that. But anyway, a couple of days ago, Bob Arum was on a show, Barbershop Conversations, and go check him out. And on the show, he had basically made it known that, I guess Keith Thurman's people had quote contacted him, or he had spoke to someone from Keith Thurman's team, and that they're trying to see if they could work something out when it pertains to that particular fight, you know. And so people are like, okay, yeah, maybe something's gonna go on, and maybe they'll get some kind of bout, between those two. I personally didn't believe so, just due to the fact that Bob Arum has negotiated before. It's not like he hasn't negotiated with other people. There was a time when Manny Pacquiao was with Top Rank and they negotiated for Adrian Broner versus Manny Pacquiao. They negotiated for a Danny Garcia versus Manny Pacquiao for a while, and nothing ever happened. So he'll negotiate. He'll just to go through the motions, to make it seem to Terrence Crawford as if he's really trying to do something, when he's really not. When he has no intentions of actually setting up any of these fights. So him talking to a Sean Porter, him talking to a Keith Thurman right now, him negotiating Earl Spence, all that means nothing. Because reality is he's not going to try to set up any of those bouts, including Earl Spence. Bob Arum does not want Terrence Crawford to fight Earl Spence either. And people like to get butthurt. I'm not talking about Crawford. I'm not talking about his willingness to fight. I'm not talking about his skill set. I'm not talking about who would win any of those fights. He's just not going to do it. Terrence Crawford is someone that fights twice a year and brings in hefty viewerships. When that man goes over to ESPN, those numbers, are a huge portion of his portfolio, And don't get it twisted. He makes a killing off Terrence Crawford, regardless of what he says from the gates, and then for whatever fees ESPN gives him to put on these events. Believe me, Top Rank makes more, substantially more, on every Terrence Crawford fight than Terrence Crawford makes. Substantially more. That's just reality of it. So he's going to look at things long term, and he's not going to cut that off a fight that might do, 700,000 to 1 million pay-per-views. Everybody that's thinking that Earl Spence versus Crawford is this 2 million fight, this 2.5, it's not that, it's not that serious. It's maybe a 700,000 pay-per-view fight. Maybe. To 1 million, maybe. And that's a huge maybe. That's it. That's absolutely it. You got to think of somebody like what's not a Manny Pacquiao, like a Floyd Mayweather. With that huge fan base he got when he was facing the likes of Ortiz, Cotto, all these guys who's bringing in 1.1, 1.2, 1.4. That's the top guy. So if you got somebody that's bringing in 300,000 pay-per-views, and then you got this other dude that's bringing in nothing, you're not getting no 2 million or anything like that. 700,000, I think, is basically what they would bring in. But so because he's looking long term like that, he's not going to offer these people anything. He's going to offer them things that they're not going to take. And according to Keith Thurman, he's basically saying that fight ain't happening. He's like, it's not going to happen. That Bob Arum needs to stop lying to the people. Number one, he did not ask for no $10 million. That was number one. And number two, he's not taking no crazy, he's not giving no damn discounts in order for this fight to happen. He's basically said that, he's obviously, because of everything that's going on right now, yeah, you're not paying me full price for a bout, but I'm not taking no discount. I'm not fighting for no $1-2 million. He's not fighting for anything like that. And the reality is, like he said, and which is true, is that Bob Arum is not willing to invest the funds that's necessary in order for Terrence Crawford to have big fights. He's not willing to do that. He's not going to put up that money. So because of that, Terrence Crawford is not going to be having any major fights, which is basically what I said. He's not going to put up the money for it. That would take he's offering Sean Porter less money than Sean Porter makes fighting low-tier dudes like nobody's. You know what I mean? That's what he's offering him. Keith Thurman's been making money for years now. He's not taking no low-tier fights. He's 2 fights away from an Earl Spence fight. You know what I mean? Probably 2 fights away, 1 to 2 fights away from a pay-per-view bout where he's going to get paid another 7 to 10 million. I think they said he made 8 to 10 million for the Manny Pacquiao fight. So he's probably one skip away from making that exact same amount of money. So he's not going to take any shorts. He's not going to do that, you know? And he also was very, he also said that, basically Terrence Crawford is going to have to leave Bob Arum in order to make any real money, you know? He said it's a shame that Terrence Crawford is signed to ESPN and y'all can't put up the money to make these big fights. You can't put up the money. And I'm sure ESPN's putting up a nice little piece, but Bob Arum's taking that and banking it, putting it in his pocket. And ESPN's main focus is the UFC. That's why they have, regular UFC shows that they don't. They have all this shoulder programming that they put on ESPN Plus and regular ESPN. They make sure on their fights when everything's popping up with other sports, they make sure MMA and UFC's up there as well. That's why one of the UFC's next events is going to be on ABC. They're putting them on their network, just like PBC is putting up their fights on regular Fox. They're about to do the same with the UFC on ABC. They're not doing that with their boxing. They're not investing anything when it comes to time, energy, or funds. They're not doing anything close to what they're doing with that aspect of their of their sports. They're not doing anything close to what they're doing with the UFC and the MMA. So it looks as if they're trying to expand that now by putting that on like regular television and really trying to push them to another level by having that available to them. But when it comes to their boxing, they have, and Keith Thurman is right, he has fighters. They have fighters. He just doesn't know what the F to do with them. He doesn't know how to grow that brand and have them progress the way that PBC's been able to do. Think about it. Forget the stars. Ugas, like Lipinets, Figueroa. You guys know all these names. These ain't like the top dudes. But you know the mid-level PBC fighters. You guys know the mid-level PBC fighters. And they'll fight and do numbers even. You don't know none of those mid-level freaking ESPN fighters. You don't. And they do have fighters that they could really promote, that they should be able to promote and put in big numbers. They should be able to do that. But for whatever reason, they don't. From the Terrence Crawford to the Beterbiev to Teofimo Lopez's, and the list goes on and on with the people that they actually do have. But for whatever reason, they seem just a couple of, they can't do anything with them. Even someone like a Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez, you should be able to build that man into somebody that's bringing in 2 million views and one that's doing major gates. But you have this pot from people, melting pot from people from the UK, from the Eastern Europeans, to the Spanish, to the blacks. You have all of this good fighters, champions. Ramirez, who's just about to go, fight for Undisputed. Taylor, you got, Shakur Stevenson that's just kind of sitting in a corner to do nothing with. We're going to give you some titles, like we did Crawford, and stifle your career and have you not progress yourself anywhere near to what you should be. I don't know. He's right. And unfortunately, like I've said before in many videos, this is Crawford's life. These other guys are going to, do 1-2 fights, pay-per-view, 1-2-3 fights, pay-per-view. That's going to be what they're doing over there on PBC. They're going to continue to progress. The Colberts are coming up. The Ennises are coming up. The Russells brothers are coming up. And they're going to surpass, like when that new generation is going to be the same thing. They're going to surpass all these fighters that are on DAZN, the young fighters, and the fighters that are on ESPN. They're going to surpass the Shakur Stevenson. They're going to surpass the Devin Haney's. 24 months from now, Mr. Showtime, as I like to call him, Colbert, and Ennis will be bigger names than Devin Haney is right now. Off just the fact that he's on that with a promoter that doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he's fighting on a closed platform, and that guy cannot get him the fights that's necessary for him to progress as a fighter. It's not. Him fighting, these fighters are going to surpass him. These fighters are going to surpass Shakur, because even though Shakur is going to be on TV, he's going to get these titles, he has a ceiling that they're not going to let him go over. That's why they even had Floyd Mayweather had a ceiling with Top Rank. Terence Crawford has a ceiling. Terence Crawford has reached his ceiling. He can go way higher, but not with Top Rank. He's capped out with Top Rank. And Shakur Stevenson is going to be capped out as well. And while he's capped out, these other dudes are going to progress past him. That's just what it's going to be, but we'll see what happens, but I have to agree with Keith Thurman on this, He's just telling the truth. Terence Crawford is fucked. That's what it is. But for now, like, subscribe, share. I'm out.